Well, Merry Christmas, everyone, because we're back talking another MCU show on Disney Plus that exists. Yeah, okay, it's Hawkeye. This is a review of the first two episodes of Hawkeye. And I'm going to just say it right now. I did not like this at all. I think this is probably my least favorite of all the Disney Plus shows, including What If and Loki. At least those were creative. This wasn't creative in any aspect of the word. There's a couple of things I do want to say before we get into this. First off, I am still planning on doing a big discussion review with somebody, and hopefully we can figure out the schedule to do that for each episode. We'll see. And also, there is a lot of talk about the fraction and nausea stuff being the influence to this. And I just want to say, really? You really think so? Because it's not. It's not there at all. It has the tracksuit Draculas, now the tracksuit Mafia. They say bro. The dog's in here. Lucky's in here. It wants to have that theme in the title sequence. That's it. None of the other story beats or character moments actually occur in this show that are familiar to the book. It wants to have the veneer of being the actual successful Hawkeye title. Instead, it tries to look like it without actually giving us the prestige that is that comic book. I'm really let down. I am really let down by this show because Hawkeye is a character I liked. Clint Barton is the character that got me into comic books. I connected to him. I liked him. And when you're doing a show with him, I am genuinely excited. Because he's a cool character and he can be complex. And while I don't like the version that Jeremy Renner has portrayed, I think trying to break away from what he's done before is a smart move. But it misfired completely in this show. Of course, it's the first two episodes. But if this is the story they're going for, I don't like it. I don't think it works for the character of Clint Barton. I think it actually hurts the character of Clint Barton instead of trying to make him more unique. That people are saying, this is Clint Barton getting story. Is it? He is the same character who is aggressively angry and curmudgeon-y throughout every single scene. It's not Clint Barton. And I should accept that, but I can't because the show tried to tease us with the premise, it's gonna be my life as a weapon. Well, fuck you. It's not. It's not at all. You can't just do set dressing and tell us it's a thing. It doesn't have anything like that at all going for it. So, Clint Barton, where did we last see him before he got this show? His family came back. He's got 3 kids and a wife. That classic Clint Barton story from the comic books. And he was Ronin for a bit. So, when we're doing a show based on, my life as a weapon, because that's what this is supposed to be, right? It would stand to reason that we'd have to find a way to get rid of those things that made Clint Barton who he is in the movies. So, if you are wondering how they managed to finagle a way to get the kids and wife out of there, oh, it's easy. He literally just sends them away. It is so lazy and uninspired that it sucks. It's just like, we're trying to make ourselves look like this thing. So in order to do that, we literally have to make me a bad dad. Instead of putting the kids, who could be interesting characters of their own right, into the story, they become a plot device to make us remember, Clint's got to get back in time for Christmas. There's no tension there because A, we know Clint's either going to make it or not. And B, none of the kids or his wife are in any of the scenes to provide tension. There's literally a scene in both episodes where he just talks to Linda Cardellini on a phone, and it's just like, hey, are you gonna be home soon? Maybe. Shit's getting real. Yeah, fuck you. It's so obvious and cliche. It feels like it wants to be Die Hard too, where it's like, oh, look at how down-to-earth and realistic Clint is. He's put in all these tough situations. Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you to do nothing. And first off, look, Jeremy Renner is a fine actor. I've enjoyed a lot of his work. He is sleepwalking the hell out of this performance. He looks so bored and uninterested, and I can't tell if that's the intention of the character or the fact that he is just doing this for the paycheck. He is like, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, Scarlett's not doing it. Evans isn't doing it. Downey's not doing it. Why the hell do I have to? Why should I? They never gave me a movie. I've been a supporting character for this long. You want to give me actual character death? Well, here's the hearing aid. That's an actual story beat in the comic book. I'll just wear it because now it's a funny goof. Because look at me. I've been through so much shit. I got the hearing aid now. Shut up. It's not funny. And it's just so infuriating that the opportunity we can have to make Clint a satisfying character is squandered because Renner looks bored and we're trying to make him the old curmudgeon man helping the young youthful girl. It sucks. I will say a positive about this is Haley Steinfeld. Look, I like her as an actress. I will say this is going to either get really annoying really fast or it's going to be the next breakout character. Because there's just something inherently Kate Bishop about she's cool, she's hip, she's young, people like her. And then, oh yeah, there's Kate Bishop being in this story. She does good. She actually has personality. She is feisty. She is fun. She is headstrong. But also, the entire storyline of her falls into these familiar beats where she's angry at her mother for remarrying this man. She doesn't trust the world around her. She is so desperate to become a superhero that it's actually going to be the downfall to her having any actual character development where this is supposed to be her arc, but she already is kind of doing that arc. She's already kind of the hero, so when she gets the big hero moment, it's not really earned because she's already doing it from the first moment we see her. And that kind of sucks. I like Kate. She's a character I enjoy. She works best when she is kind of like the younger sister to Clint who is telling him what to do. Not the, energetic kid who's just following him around like a love-scorned puppy. And I don't like that feeling. I'm not saying it needs to be this certain way between them. But the energy between these two is very much just your classic trope that you've seen in westerns or action films or any genre piece where it's the young person so bright-eyed, bushy-tailed about the world, and then you have Clint showing up who is miserable and just broken by everything, and those clashing dynamics lead to such obvious storytelling. It is so obvious. It is so uninspired. Their dialogue is so boring where she's like, "You're an Avenger, yippee-doo, look how fun we are." He's like, yeah, it's great, yeah, blah, blah. Oh. And it's infuriating. She does add some personality to the character, which is good because it was desperately needed. So the first episode, there's Christmas. Clint's watching Rogers the Musical. He hates it. Why is he there? Who knows? So he leaves, and his kids and him are just in New York having a goof, having a ball. And that's one part of the story. But mainly this is about Kate Bishop. So Kate is going to this cocktail event, whatever, for her mother and her new fiancé, Jacques Ducan. But as they call him in the show, Jack Ducan. You're really underplaying the French parts of the swordsman here. And by the way, Tony Dalton, great casting. I think he is going to be the standout of this just because he is your John Walker. You're going to see this guy know he's a dick, but fall in love with the things he does. They don't even beat around the bush. He collects swords. He likes defense. You know it's swordsman. If you read comic books, you know it's swordsman. And you know he's going to be a bit of a prick. But here's the other thing that kind of bothers me about that. And again, I don't want to compare this to the comic books too much, but this show is toying itself as being My Life as a Weapon. It said, this is what we're doing. Look at our art direction. Blah, 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 blah. Tony is younger than Jeremy. He is 4 years younger. I looked it up. So, in the comic books, Clint is trained by Jacques. What? It's just weird to me. Maybe they'll reverse it, or maybe Jeremy did train Tony's character a little bit, but I don't know. It didn't work for me. So there's this underground just ring of whatever where people are selling off these weapons. One of them, it's weird to me. So they're selling the Ronin sword and the Ronin suit, and then they're also selling a big Triceratops skeleton. That's a weird, what? That's a weird combination of things to be selling. We see people are interested in the sword, and there's just a fight, and yeah, people try to steal the Ronin suit, and that's kind of the premise for this show, I think, is that people are misinterpreting what the Ronin suit is supposed to be. And basically, that's a cool story. I don't hate that in the slightest. I think it's very interesting. The problem is, that's not a Clint Barton story. That's a Punisher story. That is a story where the Punisher would go around you are using my logo for the wrong fucking reasons. Get bent. Clint Barton would just mess up and just lead to more destructive stuff instead of being the secretive asshole who's, who finds Kate in the suit, takes her to a safe house that's attacked by the tracksuit mafia, takes her to another safe house and just does all this stuff. So the first episode, it drags so much. So much of it is establishing Kate Bishop as knowing Hawkeye. She likes archery. She likes fencing. She was there during the Battle of New York in 2012. The rubble killed her father. She has an intrinsic connection to Clint because of that. She finds the Ronin suit that her stepfather was going to take her, mom's fiance wanted. And then that's pretty much that's the first episode. It's really just establishing this world. And that's fine, but it is slow, methodical, and doesn't do anything fun. Most of the characters look bored. Most of the people are like, what are we doing here? And it doesn't have that prestige or that feeling of a classic Marvel thing. It just feels run down. It feels modern and hallmarky, which kind of sucks. So that first episode, it didn't sell me. And I didn't enjoy it for what it was. We get Lucky the pizza dog in here. Cool. We're not going to have the tragedy where we see him lose his eye because of the actions of a Hawkeye. Okay. I can get behind that too. We're not going to intentionally hurt a dog. He's just going to be quirky. So what's episode 2? Well, my God, this show. So they have the Ronin suit. And now Clint's got to make a deal with the people, blah, blah, blah. Some fireman, I should say, actually steals the suit and uses it for LARPing. So there is this scene in episode 2 which utterly amazed me. Because it is just so weird. And it just makes me go, this can't be something that the writer wanted to put in the Hawkeye show. This entire scene with LARPing feels like we needed... I wanted to write a scene where people are LARPing and there's a guy who doesn't want to do it. But I'm working on Hawkeye, so I'm going to throw it in here. So Clint goes to a big LARPing thing in New York City. He has to sign up to fight his way through this horde to get to the guy that stole the Ronin suit. It is a weird scene because it's not even funny. It's just more like annoying. Like I guess you could say there's some forced perspective where we feel like we are Clint Barton watching this show, where we're tired of all the actions he's taking. So every time he's like fake hitting somebody or he's slashing it through, he says he's kind of having fun at the end, but he looks miserable and bored the whole time, leading to a big climactic battle where he like kills the guy that took the suit. And it's exhausting and it's tiresome. And you're like, okay, he's got the suit. That's great. And it's a 51-minute episode and nothing really happens in it. And again, it's the second episode of your show. This is a 6-episode miniseries, and I hope come towards the end there'll be some actual interesting stuff happening where it doesn't just look boring and basic, where we don't just see people running from place to place avoiding these tracksuit mafia. And I get it, man. You want to do the tracksuit mafia. I get it. I do the same thing, but they are so boring. And they are just such one-note villains that it doesn't spark this interesting connection or feeling to it. It works in the comic book because the comic books can be intentionally silly, but when you're trying to like have a certain theme running through your MCU shows, it doesn't come across as great, and that kind of sucks. And the other part of that episode is that again, it's just so easy, and it doesn't feel inspired at all, where Kate's just like, I don't trust my mom's new fiance. I'm going to confront them at dinner, and we're going to get to like a weird sword match where he's going to let me intentionally beat him in the sword fight. Chekhov's swordsman at this fucking point. I don't know how I feel about this, because on one hand, it's just nice to see Hawkeye on screen. But on the other hand, I'm like, the writing is so on the nose and uninspired that it lacks creativity. It feels like just a clusterfuck of ideas being pushed together without actually having any nuance to it. We need the curmudgeon old guy to pass the torch down to our bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young girl. We need to have the political tensions of a super rich elite woman, who was cut off by her mom and the new husband bothers her and he could be evil and maybe the mom's okay with that, and like this weird espionage thing, and then this idea like appropriating a suit that led to bad things. That is easy and has been done to death before. So many tropes, so much just veneer being shoved into you, and I just cannot stand. It actually infuriates me how much the marketing to this show, the posters, the character designs, everything they shoved into here wants you to think Fraction and Aja. Fraction and Aja, my life as a weapon. Look at all these cool purple outlines we have for our, title cards. Look at all these posters of the arrows and shit. Give some credit to Aja for designing that stuff and actually put his name in the opening credits. Maybe just like a creative consultant or something. Same with Fraction. Put him in there. And if you're going to do that, don't do it like this. Don't fucking ham-fist your way into putting the Ronin suit into the story. First off, why did Clint lose the suit to begin with? They sell it at a black market auction. He wore the thing for Endgame and then ditched it. Where the hell did it go? They just found it under the rubble at the compound. Nobody bothered to find it? Whatever. That sucks. And don't just put in the kids and just put them to the sideline. If you don't want to have them in there, just say he is trying to get home for Christmas, as opposed to cutting 2 minutes every 20 minutes to see the family having fun at Christmas without Clint there. You don't have to do that because it's a waste of Linda Cardellini just to have her answer a phone and be like, hey honey, oh, is that going poorly? Well, you're missing a lot of fun over here with gingerbread houses. It's a waste of everyone's time and effort, and it would just be easier to do the My Life as a Weapon shit without having the kids show up at it. It's frustrating, and it's lazy, and everyone looks bored except for Tony and Haley, and I just hope it was better, but it's everything. It is everything that was wrong with Iron Fist. And I fucking love Danny Rand. He is one of my favorite characters in the comic books. But when they put it to live action and said, we're going to do him justice, you didn't. You wanted to make this special for Hawkeye, you didn't. You made 2 episodes that went nowhere, set up so much that should pay off. And I will say, we haven't got enough of Alekwa Cox yet to actually see how I feel about her as Maya Lopez, but she is getting a spinoff, and it better be worth it. I love that woman. I cherish her. I hope she does good, because this needs to work for me, because so far, I am very, very, very let down, very disappointed, and I'm upset that we did this to Hawkeye. We were so close to something good, but we turned it into this weird story of, just your classic angry older man, younger partner who wants to do good. The world just is thrust upon him for some reason. He's angry. He hates it. He is very unlikable as a lead. Haley is doing great, but everything else is so obvious and easy and done trope and trope again. It's making me tired, and I think this was the first time where I actually sat down. I actively just watched the screen and I said, we are getting way too much of these. 4 movies next year, 6 shows maybe. We're getting too many. It is tiring, it is exhausting, and Hawkeye is everything that Hawkeye is on the level of Iron Fist to me. It's not good, it's not worth it, and it sucks that it's destroying a character I like. So, I know the reviews are good, but I think I'm feeling the fatigue, man. It's exhausting and annoying, and I don't like it. So, that's the first 2 episodes. They are just a slug and annoying, and I don't recommend watching this show. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.